I was about to say in theaters now. Nothing's in theaters now. Although some theaters are doing really interesting marquees, making movie references or song references, saying, be well, see you later. One film I saw in a theater at an amazing Regal Cinemas in Nashville. I'll post to our Facebook page. I'll post some photos of this theater. The neon was just astounding. Went to a Regal Cinemas and saw a film called The Traitor, which was released, I think, 2000, may have been a 2019 Italian release, but it's hitting our shores here more recent months. True story about a member of the Italian mafia who ultimately wound up turning, what they say here, turning state's evidence, ultimately wound up informing to the police the goings on of his organization and attempting to take down a lot of people who had wronged him and his family and were just doing wrong to many, many families. It's a very limited release. This was one that was released it's one of those New York, LA platform releases, and eventually trickled out to some of the larger theater chains and the chains that could afford 20 screens to put an obscure foreign art house film on one of them. We saw it in Nashville at a Regal, and I think we're the only people in the theater that night. And it was very interesting to me. It's a story that I did not know. Apparently, it's a very big story, has been a big ongoing story for many years in Italy about this man who was just trial after trial and hearing after hearing, just spilling his guts about all of the gut spilling that had gone on with all these other crime bosses and crime families in various parts of Italy. I found it fascinating because it's not necessarily a glamorized look at the mob that you often see. It's not a Godfather, which is, nothing wrong with the Godfather. But it was more about the nuts and bolts of how the organization worked and how the law sought to take these people down. Being that it was a story that I wasn't familiar with, I think there were some finer points that I did not get, didn't glean. Some discussions with my my travel companion elucidated, sure, why not? Informed me about some things that I didn't know about the individuals and the story, and some things that the films didn't talk about. The film was really made for an Italian audience who probably knew a lot of this already, so a lot of things were taken as read that I had to be informed of, but it wasn't like I felt like I was missing anything greatly. There were a couple things in the movie that I didn't quite get, but otherwise, it's a film that takes its time. It's very long and episodic, but it really traces this guy from being probably in his 30s, maybe 40s or younger, through his journey through the mob. It's a bit non-linear in telling some certain aspects of the story and how he deals with basically, what is his life and what is his life and business that his life depends on continuing, basically throwing that all away for partly revenge, partly honor, partly survival. It was very well made. It was very well performed, I thought. It's brutal at times. It's very exciting at times. Some of it you can't quite believe what you're seeing. And ultimately it ends up being a courtroom drama where if you're like me, you're just rooting for these guys to get taken down. And you don't know the way this goes and the way their actual story went. You didn't really know who was going to make it to the end of the movie, who was going to be in jail, who was going to be on the lam, and who was going to be 6 feet under. Again, subtitled film in Italian, so you need to read. And I don't know how easy this will be to see for a little while. This is one I'm sure will hit the streaming services. Again, now that theaters are not really open, these studios who have invested all the money in these releases are going to have to do something to try to recoup that. So it's either paid rentals or streaming or rushing them out to video or who knows what. But I thought The Traitor was quite good, and if you like mob movies, if you like Italian history, if you like the Euro of the 70s and 80s, it has all of that going for it. And I'm not going to say it's out now because I'm not sure how you're going to see this, but file The Traitor for later viewing.